All right, Kathryn Silvera, President of the Jamaican Manufacturers and Exporters Association, is with me now to highlight the impact of the ongoing US-Iran conflict on the country's manufacturing sector. Good morning. Welcome.
Good morning,
Great
Neville. Good to see you. I'm fantastic.
I've missed you since the year start. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Happy birthday. Happy everything.
Happy everything. Big things going on in your group.
Yes, I think not just for manufacturers.
Yeah, what's
but
the
for everybody.
biggest thing that could hurt our manufacturing sector because of what's happening in the Middle East?
Well, I think it's what's going to affect a lot of us as Jamaicans and people around the world, and that is the rising cost of fuel and gas. And what that does, it has a ripple down effect on a lot of items. So first of all, you realize that your electricity costs are made up of a lot of fuel. So if those costs increase, then electricity is most likely going to increase. Then you have the fuel at the pumps. And as manufacturers and other businesses, you have to transport your goods from your manufacturing facility to the end consumer, to the retailers. You also have to pay freight costs, and those are elevated as well because of these prices. And in addition, there are other byproducts that are going to be increasing, have been increasing. Your fertilizer costs, your other costs associated with farming. And for value-added manufacturing, that is going to increase your input costs. Another byproduct is plastics. And so a lot of packaging material is made from plastics. And so a lot of our manufacturers from about 6 weeks ago have already gotten increasing costs of packaging. And so all of those compound to naturally increase the cost of all of your inputs as a manufacturer.
Yeah. What are your members saying?
Our members, I feel that every few months there is something that is going on to affect the geopolitical climate. Last year we had the tariffs with the US. We had Hurricane Melissa. We had Beryl the year before that. In 2022, it was the Russia-Ukraine war that also caused gas prices, oil prices to rise. Then there was COVID before that, which was a lot of uncertainty. And, since COVID, I would say our manufacturers have built up reserves in terms of we're carrying a lot more inventory. And so our raw materials, our packaging inventory, we carry a lot more than that because COVID showed us that logistics was thrown into chaos. And with this US-Iran conflict that's happening right now, that also affects logistics because with rising freight costs, with the uncertainty with the Strait of Hormuz, freight companies are going to look at rerouting shipments. And so there's more costs, there's more delays. That is also a challenge as well.
Did you not put up your hand and say, "Where me get myself?" Bye.
Well, Neville, it's very character building. I'm going to tell you that.
Oh, all right. So have we seen the worst of it, or is it going to get worse? Because we don't know how long this conflict will last.
Correct.
And the longer it lasts, I guess the more we will be hurt, for want of a better word.
Yes.
So are we seeing that yet? Are your members
No,
saying?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Because as most businesses, but manufacturers, especially medium and large manufacturers that have a little bit more wiggle room, we don't automatically look at raising prices immediately. Because this is a conflict, again, we're uncertain as to how long it would last. We would look to see, okay, how long almost like the discussion with Petrodrama Minister Vaz, how long can you hold out for? Maybe absorbing some of these price increases before you pass it on. Because one thing is for certain, when you increase price, it's not easy to bring it back down. And so I think we're now starting to see those effects. We see a lot more manufacturers and businesses speaking out that price increases are coming or they're implementing price increases soon. So I would say that we haven't seen the price increases yet, but we will soon. And so the longer this conflict lasts, is the more uncertain I think it is.
What about exporting? I suspect because of the hurricane, some of our produce wouldn't be ready to go anywhere. So where are we on the exporting side?
Well, price increases are going to affect your exports as well. If the Jamaican dollar, it has revalued, it does devalue at some time. So when it devalues, it makes your goods less expensive in terms of US dollars. But we have a fluctuation. I would say that I wouldn't say that the hurricane caused our exports necessarily to slow down. It would from, well, in the, let's say in the maybe 2 weeks to a month after the hurricane, because we did have ships that were rerouted that weren't coming. So there was some affection in that short term. But the majority of our manufacturers were not actually located in the region that was affected. We did have some repercussions coming out of that because of the agro industry. And so there are some of our exporters that export mangoes, other produce that did take some time to come back up and running because the farmers, of course, were very affected.
Because of the big hit that we got from Melissa, you read that the government is helping this, the government is putting money there, the government is doing that. Is the government helping in a meaningful way to your group? Can your members say yes? You know, I get a lick, but already because I got help from here and there.
I would say that it has been in small doses, and I think that for our micro and small members, that is where the help is needed most.
Does that mean it's not enough? I don't want to put you on the spot, but I just did.
I would say that our members would say that it is always more, more is always appreciated. And so, yes, more would always be appreciated. But, you have to also play a balancing act because you can't just give free money. Yeah. You have to ensure that there is incentives in place that that support is going to be used to really prop them up and to really ensure that they come out more productive.
Well, I will ask the question, but I know you probably can't answer it because you don't know how long this conflict will last. So you can't say, well, we'll be out of this by November, we'll be out of it, right? So you really and truly just don't know. So things could very well get much worse.
Yes, there is always that possibility, but I want to say that, manufacturing and business in general in Jamaica, I think, is very resilient, and we always look to see, okay, these inputs are going up. Where can we look to see if we can lower costs in other avenues? And that's something that we continue to do whether there is a geopolitical challenge happening or not. We're always looking out because you cannot continue to increase price. Demand is obviously going to drop down. Yeah. And so you have to look at all avenues. Can you implement machinery that is going to be more productive or raise up your level of staff to be more skilled, to get through the production line quicker? Can you source more affordable packaging? What can you do to help the impact of the rising prices?
Do you know if any of your members will put up them and say, I can't bother with this because I get licked last year, I get licked the year before, I get licked the year before, I'm done with this, or no?
They don't say that seriously. They don't say that seriously. They're still pushing through.
What are you, as we leave, what's the word to them? Look in that camera and tell your members and the rest of Jamaica what you think they should be doing right now.
Well, I think that, we continue our resilience that we've shown for the past few years, and always reach out to us at the JMEA if it is that we can help to advocate and support you in this unprecedented times.
Beautifully. And hopefully these unprecedented times will end next week.
We can hope.
We can hope, because it's just war. Yeah. Incredible. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you for having me, Neville.
Good to see you. Kathryn Silvera, President of the Jamaica Manufacturers and Exporters Associations. All right, folks, still to come, the Old Harbour High School Cultural Expressions with a dance. But first up, the second edition of News in 5. Soon come.